Hello mga ka-learners! Teacher Carmela here. Kamusta kayo? Today, you will find out about the different kinds of natural and man-made ecosystems. After this lesson, you should be able to, first, differentiate the kinds of natural and man-made ecosystems. Second is to describe some natural ecosystems in the Philippines. And lastly, to tell the ecological importance of each ecosystem. We have mentioned before that ecosystems can be classified as natural and man-made. The variety of flora and fauna in an ecosystem is called biodiversity. The Philippines is one of the countries that boasts of ecosystems with high biodiversity. Biodiversity in an ecosystem is a measure of that ecosystem's stability. The greater the variety of plants and animals found in an ecosystem, the more stable the ecosystem is. However, we cannot expect that the numbers and kinds of organisms in an ecosystem will stay constant. Ecosystems are dynamic, meaning they are ever-changing. Changes in an ecosystem can either be brought about by natural processes or by human activities. Let us now focus our attention on the natural ecosystems that we have here in our country. We will look at their characteristics as well as the benefits they provide us. We will also discuss our activities that are causing changes in these ecosystems. There are three kinds of ecosystems that dominate in the Philippines. These are the rainforest, freshwater ecosystems, and coastal ecosystems. Tropical rainforest. Tropical rainforests are fascinating ecosystems that have evolved over millions of years. The Philippines is fortunate to have tropical rainforests. These forests are found only in the tropics, where rainfall does not go below 200 centimeters a year and humidity is constantly high. Rainforests all over the world shelter half of all plant and animal life on Earth. In our country, the most common trees that grow in the rainforest are the dipterocarps. Dipterocarps are the main source of timber in our country. Forests supply us with timber, firewood, and charcoal for fuel. There are also plenty of plants and animals in the forest that are beneficial to us. Plenty of plants found in tropical rainforests have medicinal value. Changes tend to occur in the forest because of natural occurrences such as typhoons. However, the most drastic changes that take place in the forest are brought about by human activities. Among these are the kaingin, or the practice of cutting and burning trees in a forest in order to convert the area into agricultural land. This practice lessens soil fertility and leads to soil erosion. The destruction of trees also leads to the death of smaller plants as well as other organisms that depend on these trees for food and protection. Did you know that in 1903, there were more than 21 million hectares of forest land in the Philippines? Now, there are less than 6 million hectares of forest left. Deforestation, or the act of cutting down trees without replacing them, results in soil erosion, sedimentation, and floods. A lot of disasters have occurred as a consequence. During typhoon, for instance, heavy floods cause the loss of lives and destruction of property. Coastal ecosystems. The three kinds of coastal ecosystems are found within the marine waters from the coastline up to the point where light can penetrate the bottom. These ecosystems can only be found in tropical areas such as our country. Mangrove ecosystems are located in salty and muddy water. Their biotic components include the woody tree species, and the plants and animals interact with these trees. Mangroves provide food and shelter to various marine organisms. The root system of these trees is unique in that the roots are able to give oxygen from the air above the water. There are different mangrove species, and these trees provide a natural barrier against storms, soil erosion, and pollution. The Philippines has some of the most diverse coral reefs in the world. Coral reefs are natural structures that form from the layers of skeletons of corals, which are microscopic animals that secrete lime. When they die, they leave behind their lime skeletons, and the layer piles up as more corals live and die. It takes about 5 years for a coral reef to grow an inch. Coral reefs house a great number of marine species. Most fish, seaweed, mollusks, and other organisms use coral reefs as their habitats. Seagrass ecosystems serve as meadows in the sea. Seagrass serves as a primary food source for most plant-eating marine animals such as the dugong or sea cow, turtles, sea urchins, and some fishes. During low tides, the bed of seagrass serves as the food for duck and geese. The blades of the grass also serves as a surface for algae to grow on. When washed ashore, the grass also serves as food for insects. All these ecosystems are threatened by human activities. Mangroves are cut down and made into charcoal. Coral reefs are destroyed through dynamite fishing. Seagrasses are destroyed through soil erosion, which deposits eroded soil into the water and thus cut off the sunlight and oxygen supply of the grasses. Given the valuable roles these ecosystems play, the damages that they sustain have drastic effects on humans as well. Freshwater ecosystems. Freshwater is found in lakes, rivers, and ponds. In these bodies of water, you will find many various organisms that depend on one another for their survival. These bodies of water houses species such as tilapia, tawilis, catfish, and a great number of other fishes as well as plants and very tiny organisms. We have approximately 420 rivers and about 100 lakes in our country. These bodies of water do not only provide water for people, plants, and animals, they also provide us with food. They also serve as means of transportation, and their energy is used to provide us with electricity. Rivers and lakes are the only readily accessible sources of fresh water that we have. However, many of our rivers and lakes are being contaminated with wastes from industrial plants, household, and mines. These wastes kill the organisms in the ecosystems. Species that are found only in a particular river or lake become extinct as a result. We also suffer a shortage in our water supply because of the contamination of rivers and lakes. Man-made ecosystems. The increasing number of people and their growing needs have led them to convert many land areas into residential areas. These converted areas are what we call man-made ecosystems. People make ecosystems where they put up their houses, businesses, places for leisure, schools, and community centers. Land conversion has intensified over the years as the human population increases. Forests are continuously converted into rice fields and vegetable plantations. Some are also converted into grasslands on which livestock such as cattle graze. Rice field. A rice field is a man-made ecosystem. We develop rice fields to increase rice production. In a rice field, we find plants like rice, weeds, shrubs, and a few trees. Insects, frogs, worms, snails, and even rats also live in rice fields. The trees provide fruits and shade for the farmers who work in the field. Water flows through the field in order for rice to grow. Farmers prefer to live near rice fields. they depend on their produce for a living. Urban ecosystem. Another type of man-made ecosystem is the urban ecosystem. Urban ecosystem refers to the areas where people have settled and created communities. An urban ecosystem includes people's house, schools, churches, stores, hospitals, business districts, and other establishments needed by people in order to meet their needs. In an urban ecosystem, you can also find smaller ecosystems that are similar to natural ecosystems. A park, for instance, has trees and sometimes even a pond. Among these trees and pond, you will also find smaller plants and animals which interact with one another for survival. Let's remember, there are two kinds of ecosystems, the natural and man-made ecosystems. Biodiversity is the variety of animals and plants found in an ecosystem. It is the measure of stability of an ecosystem. Changes in an ecosystem are brought about by natural events and human activities. There are three kinds of natural ecosystems found in the Philippines. We have tropical rainforests, coastal ecosystems, and freshwater ecosystems. Tropical rainforests are rich in biodiversity. However, our rainforests are fast disappearing because of kaingin and logging. Coastal ecosystems are of three kinds. We have mangroves, coral reefs, and seagrasses. All these ecosystems serve as habitat for a great number of marine organisms. However, they are all threatened by destructive human activities such as dynamite fishing and logging. Freshwater ecosystems includes rivers and lakes. These bodies of water provide water for plants, animals, and people. They also provide us with food and means of transportation. Rice fields are man-made ecosystem. They are usually converted from forest lands. Urban ecosystems are community of people surrounded by institutions and other things that they need to carry out their daily activities. And that marks the end of our module. I hope that you gained new knowledge that will help you get to know the different ecosystems better. See you in the next module!